One of the easiest ways to make money in crypto, especially during a crypto bull market, is by looking at narratives, getting in early on, and waiting for the crowd to come in and sell when everybody's talking about that one project. Now, obviously, that is much easier said than done, but today we're going to be taking a look at some of the tools and some of the ways that I go about doing some research to find these projects before everybody starts talking about it. So if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and let's talk about how to find these projects. Over the last few weeks, we've had a handful of projects blow up in the space in terms of attention, liquidity, sentiment, and mindshare. And before everybody started talking about these projects, there were a handful of opportunities to actually get involved with them. And we're going to go ahead and show you guys how to actually find these projects. But before we do, I wanted to just quickly highlight where we currently are in the markets, because we are seeing the markets pump as I'm making this video. So if we take a look at Bitcoin, we're right around $119,000. We've broken this channel that we've essentially been into since the later parts of July, for the exception of the all-time high in August. And if we take a look at altcoins, we're right again up against that all-time high, around $1.12 trillion. So the markets are definitely doing well. But if we remember some of the projects that did launch over the last couple of weeks that grabbed the entire attention and liquidity from crypto, let's have a look at these. We have Aster, we also have XPL, which is Plasma, and we have STBL, another one that also has done well as we've seen it launch. Now, all of these projects were actually talked about before they all launched. And the key thing here is that you have to have patience when it comes to new projects. When it comes to a token generation event, you're likely going to be on that protocol or using that protocol for months before it actually launches, for you to have either an airdrop or some sort of reward for using that website or project prior to it being live to the masses. But as we've just seen over the last few weeks, it can be very fruitful to do so. In the case of, let's say, Aster, we were actually talking about Aster back in June, but it's not until, late parts of September where it launched and it did absolutely crazy. And you had CZ, ex-CEO of Binance, pushing it. But that is one of the ways that you can look at new projects or upcoming projects and try to have that mentality so that when it does launch, it could potentially do something similar to Aster. Now, of course, there's no guarantee that, the project you may be getting into is going to have as much success as another project, but that is the name of the game, and that is unfortunately crypto. But if we take a look at when we actually started talking about Aster in our Discord, we were talking about Aster back on June 9th. And here we said that, this was probably going to be the big next thing. It was backed by Binance Labs. Core team is also Binance and endorsed by CZ. And we had a few links to it here. So that was kind of the first time we talked about Aster. But back in June, nobody was caring about Aster because, one, nobody knew about it, and two, nobody wanted to farm a project and another perpetual DEX. But if you look back now, hindsight's 2020, everyone and their dog would have farmed the hell out of that protocol. So again, it doesn't just mean that because there's a new project, it's going to do well. There are obviously some slim pickings throughout the new projects. Now, if we take a look at Plasma, for example, this one here launched around $1.38 or so. It went all the way down to 78 cents and quickly back up to $1.60. Right now, it is sub $1. There's a whole lot of FUD on Plasma right now. I'm not personally in it. I'm just kind of monitoring it. But this is the entire stablecoin narrative. It's an L1 for stablecoins. But a lot of people made a whole lot of money on this one as well. And one of the ways they actually, rewarded people for being active on Plasma or for depositing on Plasma was giving them an airdrop of roughly 9,000 Plasma, which was basically worth $9,000 when Plasma was at $1. So absolutely crazy. Anyone who got involved in the pre-sale got an equal amount. So whether you deposited $1 or $10,000, you would have basically had the same amount of XPL tokens, which was worth roughly $9,000, which again is absolutely crazy. But you have to understand that that's not going to happen to every project. And that is, again, a slim picking, but everybody has a renewed hype about airdrops because of one airdrop that's done very well. But you have to understand that, again, that's not going to happen to every project. If it did, we would all be millionaires. So understand that. But if you are looking for some of the ways that I'm looking at new projects as well as narrative flows, well, first and foremost, you can definitely spot the narrative switches when you are looking at CoinMarketCap. If you go into CoinMarketCap right now, if we take a look at the top coins over the last 24 hours, very simple, just toggle the 24 hours here. You're going to be able to see what happens. You have Zcash here, which is up 60% in 24 hours and over 100% in the last 7 days. Now, if you go to Zcash, you're like, what in the world is this? What are we even talking about? You go onto an all-time chart. This thing launched in 2017, and this is the chart that you see. Now, you're questioning yourself. You're like, Eric, what is this? Why is it up 100%? Well, then you do a little bit of digging and you can see that this is all about privacy. And right now, privacy coins are resurging and the narrative of privacy is going through the roof. If we take a look at one of the ones that actually posted about privacy, well, we have Naval himself. If you go on to Twitter, go on to Naval. He is an entrepreneur, very well known on Twitter and in the space, not per se for crypto, but in the entrepreneurial world itself. He says Bitcoin is insurance against fiat and Zcash is insurance against Bitcoin. This was posted when Zcash was at $68. It's basically done a 2x or added $1 billion of market cap in the span of 24 hours. So that is a clear narrative switch. We can see that money is flowing crazily over the last, 24 to 48 hours into privacy coins. And then you can go on to your research and look for other privacy coins that could also catch a bid. Now, I'm going to give you another tip here. Other narratives that are very likely to see a surge are prediction markets. We've seen a whole lot of action on prediction markets. I did make a video just a few weeks ago on some prediction markets on Base. We also have payments, a lot happening with stable coins as well as payments. And we also are likely to see another AI or AI agent resurgence in the coming weeks and months. So do keep those narratives very close to you. As we saw with Aster and other perpetual dexes, that was very much so the case just a few days ago. So you do see how quickly money moves in crypto and how narratives can really have an impact on your profitability. So definitely keep your head on a swivel and continue holding a bit of stable coins so that you have the ability to go in and out from some of these projects if that is your cup of tea. And one of the best ways to stay updated with everything that's happening is by joining the Discord down below. It's our premium Discord. You're going to see what I'm buying, what I'm selling. You're going to get some private sale opportunities. We just had one yesterday, as well as you're going to get the market research that I do, and you'll have direct access to me to ask me any questions. So have a look at the link in the description below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. So with that being said, if we take a look at one website that's completely free that I use on a day-to-day basis to track mindshare, where liquidity is going and what people are actually looking at, well, this is cookie.fun. Like I said, it's completely free. They have a version for all crypto, and then they have a specific version for AI agents. But if we take a look at just cookie.fun, what you can do here is you can go down here, and basically what you want to be looking at is the mindshare delta, and this is the difference in mindshare. So it's going to calculate your difference between what's happening in the mindshare, whether it's going up by a lot or down by a lot. And if you go to this, and of course you want highest first, and let's say you want the last 7 days, what is currently happening in terms of mindshare over the last 7 days? Well, we have IDOS. This is one token that over the last 7 days has seen a mindshare delta of 2.09, meaning that it is increasing by 2.09. It's the highest over the last week that people are starting to look at. And this is why I do think the delta in the mindshare is very key here. Because if we go to IDOS, which again, I'm not very familiar with, you go onto it, well, then it gives you even more details. But what I like to do specifically is I like to go on to their Twitter and then go into their documentation and understand what this project really is. So as we can see from their Twitter page here, it says portable identity for the stable coin economy. One keyword in here, we have, stable coin economy. I'm very bullish on stable coins. Portable identity, not too sure what it means. It might mean something like you have an identity that you can bring from, chain to chain or from wallet to wallet, whatever the case may be. But this is, the first time me looking at this. Now, from here, we can already see that they're backed by some very reputable projects in the name of, Arbitrum, Circle, even Ripple, Near, Starknet. We have, top of the line projects here backing this project. And then obviously I like to see who else is following this project. I would go down into the feed to see what's happening. But if we go on to CryptoRank, which is another website I like to use, if we go IDOS and see what's happening here, you can also get another idea of who's backing this project. You have, a raise of 4.5 million, which was back in July of 2024. So it's already been over a year since they've raised that amount of money. So who knows when this project is going to launch. But what we do know is that this is a project that hasn't launched yet, so they don't have a coin, which is why it says pre-TGE on cookie.fun. And it could be one of the projects that, has a very successful launch in the next weeks or months or whenever it launches. But this is just one, very simple example of looking at sentiment, looking at what people are, gearing their focus towards to, and then looking deeper into the project, understanding, of course, what it is. If it's a project that you don't even care, if it's not fitting in, your investing criteria, or it's not fitting in the right narrative, well, of course, you'll have to look at it into further details. But if it does, then it gives you the opportunity to be ahead of the game and be in front of, the millions of people that are only going to be buying the top of the coin when it actually launches. So that's a very typical thing I like to do on a day-to-day basis. If we go to some other ones, we have Layer Bank here, pre-TGE. If we go to the last month, we can obviously see that Aster was number one. Then you have Elsa AI. If we go on to this one here, it's talking about AI. I actually do remember looking at Elsa AI back in the day. This is months ago. So as we can see here, they say your crypto agent does not have a token yet. They're followed by about 70,000 people. Then if you go on to, again, CryptoRank, go type in Hey Elsa, you're going to see that, there is an airdrop confirmed. You can now see that there is actually point farming. It's in season 2, so potentially a little late already. But if we go back to, Hey Elsa at the top here, go to funding round, we can see who's actually backing this project. And as we can see, we actually have the base ecosystem, we have MH Ventures, and a few angel investors as well. So you already have, an artificial intelligence crypto agent that is backed by base ecosystem fund that is not yet launched, that nobody is really talking about. If you go onto social media or whatnot, has a little bit of mindshare over the last month, not so much within the last week. But again, it's a pre-TGE coin that is eventually going to launch. So that's one of the ways that I am looking at new projects, and one of the easiest things to look for when you're doing research. We have Limitless that has raised over $100 million in the last few days, which is absolutely crazy. Their target was $1 million. They've raised over $100 million. You can start seeing that liquidity wants to go into some altcoins. It wants to go from narrative to narrative, and people are willing to do so because of the success of these recent launches. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Of course, it doesn't mean that just because a new project is launching that it's going to do well. Do your own due diligence, do your research, because of course, anything can happen. It is crypto. There's going to be some bad actors in the space, but if you do your own research, you do your own due diligence, I do think that you guys can pick some very good projects, and there are a bunch launching in Q4. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, stay up to date with what I'm doing in the crypto space. Down in the description below, the first link is the Discord, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace.